Hey, what's up, guys? So, I was just driving to work and I was listening to a Robot Head video where he was kind of going over the Obi-Wan Kenobi show in even more retrospective, and how the show hasn't aged so gracefully. And while I was watching it, because, they're working with George Lucas properties, and Disney's trying to reshape, remold, tell a new story, whatever. And Disney just struggles and has such a difficult time telling stories of George Lucas characters. And like I've said it before about this show, it's got some gems in it. It's got some beautiful moments that I really like. But the story is not good, kind of what happens with the characters and the development. It's just, it leaves something to be desired. And then I was just thinking about everything that has come out since Star Wars Episode 7. And I keep having these thoughts when I think about Star Wars coming up. And when YouTubers talk about Star Wars, they're often talking about whether it feels like Star Wars or not. Whether it feels like George Lucas's work or not. And I just had this moment where I'm like, why are we thinking about whether it feels like Star Wars or not? It should just be Star Wars, right? We shouldn't have to debate on the feelings we're having. Like, if a character feels like the way that George Lucas intended for them to feel, or we're always referencing, well, does this have the George Lucas feel? Does it have the touch, right? And it is so fucking stupid that we have to sit and dissect feelings and compare when we have George Lucas. I often think, like, he's not going to be here forever. I'll think like, oh, I'm so glad that George is still around, when I think about Star Wars, because I'm thinking about the things that I love. It's like, thank goodness we have this genius still on this earth with us. And then, that moment of gratitude shifts into anger because it's like, well, he's still here. We're missing out on potentially decades of more George Lucas. But Disney has kicked him to the curb. We had a full plot for 7, 8, 9 that just got tossed in the garbage. He doesn't even go to the movies. He doesn't watch he's checked out. He doesn't like what's going on. So at some point, I understand how Star Wars fans checked out when George checked out. Not all Star Wars fans, but some of them, right? The ones like super loyal to George. I'm enough of a Star Wars fan that I will stay tuned into things. And if something doesn't seem like, at this point, if something doesn't seem like it's going to be a huge, colossal failure, I might check it out. But it just frustrates me that we have George and he could be telling these stories. He's still here, and he's an old man now. We don't know how much time we have left with George. These are precious, precious years. I think back to like the author of Dragon Ball and how they worshiped the guy and they milked every single thing that he came out with, and they cherish it, right? It's like, oh, the last works, and it's like we could be giving George Lucas this exact same treatment, but we're not. It's just like, what are we doing here? The creator of Star Wars is still here, and Disney doesn't want to use him. It's just like, I don't know. What are we doing here, right? So I think when he passes, it's going to hit everyone who's a Star Wars fan like a truck. We're going to have this realization like, oh no. Like, all this time we could have had George Lucas material. The guy who created the universe, who has a more in-depth knowledge and insight on every single iota of the Star Wars universe, has been here, and now he's gone. Now the option for George Lucas Star Wars is not even going to be here anymore, right? So I think that's, I don't know. Maybe I'm having a bit of foresight here, but it's not a great feeling. So anyway, I just felt like ranting. Thank you guys for listening if you did. Yeah, we'll see you guys in the next video.